In my last video, we explored alternatives to retiring in Mexico. One of the more popular options, Peru, has sparked a heated debate in my comment section. Die-hard Mexico defenders say Mexico's still the top dog, but others are telling me Peru could be the new top spot for North American retirees. So today we're settling the debate. We're putting the king of expat destinations up against the South American upstart. 6 rounds, strict GeoPension data, no opinions, just facts. Let's look at the tail of the tape. Round 1 is the cost of entry, and this is where the first massive blow lands. As we've discussed in other videos, Mexico has been jacking up its financial requirements. To get a temporary resident visa in Mexico right now, you need to prove monthly income of around $4,300. For someone relying primarily on Social Security, that's a knockout punch before you even step in the ring. Peru, on the other hand, rolls out the red carpet for fixed-income retirees. Their rentista visa requires you to prove a permanent monthly income like Social Security or pension of just $1,000 a month. That is a massive structural advantage. Round 1 winner, Peru. It's not even close. Round 2 is accessibility, also known as the Grandkid factor. And this is where Mexico strikes back hard. If you retire in Querétaro or Mérida, you're a 2-hour, $200 direct flight away from Texas or Florida. You can leave your house in the morning and be at your grandson's baseball game by lunch. Peru is a geographical haul. To get to the prime expat havens in the Andes like Arequipa or Cusco, you're looking at a 6 to 8 hour flight to Lima, a long layover, and another regional flight. It is a 12 to 14 hour travel day minimum. As we get older, that proximity matters. Round 2 winner, Mexico. The reigning champ takes the logistics round easily. Round 3 is the day-to-day survival. Rent, groceries, the lifestyle. Both countries offer charming colonial cities and a massive discount compared to the US. But if we put a mid-tier Mexican city like Querétaro up against a Peruvian equivalent like Arequipa, the data shows Peru edging out Mexico by about 15 to 20% on local rent and fresh market groceries. And then there's the food. Mexican food is legendary, but Peru is widely considered the culinary capital of South America. The dining scene in Lima and Arequipa is world-class at a fraction of the cost. Round 3 winner, Peru. It takes the lifestyle and budget round by a hair. Round 4 is a key concern these days, safety. Mexico takes a beating in the US press over localized cartel violence, which sometimes shuts down core infrastructure like bus systems. Peru has recently made headlines for political protests and infrastructure blockades in the south. But one of the key tenets of the GeoPension approach is you don't retire to a country, you retire to a specific neighborhood in a city, what we call a micro-location. So, here's the data, not drama, reality check. National headlines rarely reflect the daily reality of established expat micro-locations. Retirees living in Mérida, Mexico, or the Sacred Valley in Peru are generally experiencing lower violent crime rates than they did back in major U.S. cities. Both require street smarts, both have localized issues, but crime against expats is vanishingly rare. Round 4 winner? It's a draw. Round 5 is the undisputed heavyweight category, healthcare. And this is where Mexico delivers a staggering knockout punch. Both countries have fantastic world-class private hospitals in their major cities, but the critical difference is how you pay for it. If you retire in Peru, your U.S. Medicare Advantage plan will only reimburse you for emergencies, but you first have to pay up front. Plus, if you have a major emergency outside of Lima or Arequipa, you might need a highly expensive medical evacuation. Mexico, however, has an emerging infrastructural advantage. Because of the sheer volume of U.S. expats, the private healthcare system has adapted to us. Right now, through networks like Lakeside Medical Group, there are dozens of private Mexican hospitals across the country that actually accept direct billing for U.S. Medicare Advantage plans for urgent and emergency care. You walk in, show your card, pay a nominal copay, and the network handles the international billing. I personally confirmed this when I visited the Star Medica Hospital in Mérida, Mexico last month. Round 5 winner, Mexico. The ability to effectively leverage your U.S. Medicare benefits south of the border is an absolute game changer. Round 6 was actually brought up by a viewer named Carlos in my comment section, and it's a brilliant point. The language barrier. Mexico has a massive survival advantage because of the sheer volume of U.S. tourism and established expat hubs. You can easily navigate daily life speaking almost entirely English, though your experience is certainly enriched by learning some Spanish. However, if your goal is to integrate more deeply into your new community and actually learn Spanish, Mexican Spanish is notoriously difficult for beginners. It's incredibly fast and heavily laden with local slang that will leave you completely lost. Peru is the exact opposite. English proficiency outside the major tourist zones is very low. You have to learn at least some of the local language. But here's the massive advantage. Linguists consistently rank Peruvian Spanish as the clearest, most neutral, and easiest dialect to understand in all of Latin America. They speak at a moderate, calm pace, making it the absolute perfect environment for an older expat trying to learn a new language. Round 6 winner, it's a draw. It depends entirely on your goal. If you want to get by on English, Mexico wins. If you want to actually master clear Spanish, Peru takes the crown. So the judges' scorecards are in. After 6 grueling rounds, we have an exact tie. Mexico dominates on accessibility and healthcare. Peru dominates on visa costs and day-to-day budget. They draw on safety and language. So, who wins the belt? Well, that completely depends on your fighting style. Archetype 1, the safety net retiree. If you demand immediate, cheap flight access to your grandkids, you want to get by speaking mostly English, you have the $4,000 plus monthly income to clear the visa hurdles, and using your Medicare Advantage coverage without prepaying is your number one priority, Mexico defends its title. Archetype 2, the fixed income explorer. If you're living strictly on a $2,000 Social Security check, you don't mind a long travel day, you want to become part of your community by actually learning clear, beautiful Spanish, and you want stunning mountain culture with world-class food, Peru wins the belt. Mexico and Peru are titans, but neither of them has the perfect combination of proximity to the U.S., beaches, and low visa costs, which is why I'm packing my bags right now as my GeoPension quest for ideal retirement destinations continues. In a few short weeks, I'm flying down to the Dominican Republic for a in-depth boots-on-the-ground test of the cost of living. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that series when I land. In the meantime, if you want to see how other Andes countries like Ecuador and Colombia stack up against Mexico, click this video right here, and I'll see you in the next one.